Okay, so I'm doing this video in response to a couple of people asking on Ravelry, and I want to talk today a little bit about carding, but not just carding with regular wool carders. I want to talk about cotton carding. So, first things first, I've got a set of, these are general wool carders. These are actually Clemis and Clemis wool carders from the USA. Now, you'll see these have got some, these are about 72 points per inch, I think, and they are set onto, these are curved, very slightly curved. Have to admit I prefer flat ones, but these curved ones are pretty nice. So they've got teeth set into the cloth generic set of hand carders. Now, I also have a set of cotton carders, and this is a cotton carder. So these are Strauss cotton carders. I bought these a few years ago from Janet at the Threshing Barn for carding cotton and other short, very fine fibres. Now, if I show you the teeth on these, you have to excuse, there's a little bit of kiviot left on them. First of all, you might notice the wire is of a much finer gauge than it was on the wool carders. There are also far more teeth to the inch. Now, I believe these have somewhere in the region of 215, 220 teeth per inch. So there are a lot more teeth per inch. These are also a lot wider, but also slightly shorter in this direction than the wool carders. So if I hold them up side by side, hopefully you can instantly see the difference. The wire on the wool carders is of a thicker gauge, and on the cotton carders is of a finer gauge, and there are more teeth per inch. I have also found the teeth on these cotton carders feel a little more flexible. Now, I found that the carding technique is slightly different when you're working with cotton carders as opposed to your generic wool carders. With wool carders, it's quite easy to be able to card by sort of intermeshing the teeth very lightly. I don't find that nearly as possible with a cotton carder. So what I thought I'd do is demonstrate my technique for carding cotton and other sort of shorter fibres that you could use cotton carders for. I've used cotton carders for cashmere, yak, kiviot, camel, and also I have blended on them as well. I think Judith Mackenzie does quite a good demonstration of that. She blends, I think it's kiviot or bison maybe, and silk, where she chops the silk to be a similar staple length. I've done that too, sort of experimented, and it does work fairly well. So this is some cotton. This is Egyptian. I've got two types of cotton I'm going to demonstrate on. This is some Egyptian cotton sliver. Now this is cotton sliver that I've dyed for my shop. This is one of my test dyes actually. I quite like dyeing cotton. The only thing with it is it does compact a little bit in the dyeing process. So one way around this, if you want to spin from the sliver, is to pop it in the tumble dryer, if you've got one, with a fairly damp tea towel for about 10 minutes. And that actually does a really nice job because the humidity generated just fluffs the fibres out a little bit. But another way around this is you can card your cotton into punis, which can help make it a little bit easier to spin. Now, I'm just going to break off a section of top. So it's sort of dyed in these yellow-green colours. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cotton carder and I'm going to lay it sort of on my lap. I'll do this so you can see it. And I'm going to kind of just brush some of the fibres. Now, I'm using my thumb to allow the fibres to break from the sliver. But just like this, I'm just going to charge the carder with some cotton fibres. Now, pretty much as you would a wool carder. Not dissimilar anyway. That's probably enough. So you can see I've got some cotton fibres on there. Now, I card very similarly, just move around so you can see this, to how I do wool. The difference is I don't let the teeth mesh. Now this is a carding technique. This is not dissimilar to something I learned by watching Stephenie Gaustads' video. Now what I do is I tend to hold the carder kind of like this with my two fingers, with my index finger and my thumb on the back, using the pad of my hand You can't see it. Using the pad of this part of my hand to ballast against the back of the card. I have fairly big hands, so this is pretty easy for me, but if you have smaller hands, you may find an easier way. Now I tend to hold the card like this in my hand, with my thumb over the top, and I just rest it on my knee. Now, I just gently allow the teeth to grab some of the fibres sat on the top. Now, as I say, the thing about this technique is that the teeth do not mesh, and you notice that was silent. All that is the teeth touching. I make sure I'm not allowing them to mesh with each other at all. If I show you that from the side, you can see they are just stroking the very tops of the of what is on the top, of what is sitting on the top of the card. Now, once you get to this point where you're not really picking anything else up, you can transfer. You can do this any way you like. Now at this point, I've got some cotton fibres on this card. It doesn't really matter, I don't think. I think you can swap hands and do it however you want, so long as your hand positioning is the same. And I'm going to rinse and repeat that again. And just stroke the fibres, stroke the cards across to each other, just like that. Now let's take what's on there, onto the front. If we go again, I sort of don't really keep track of what my hands are doing. I just do it until, I don't really think about it, I just sort of card until I'm happy with what I've got. So I continue just to pretty much card a layer, doff it, card it, doff it, until I'm happy with the preparation I'm getting. And I'm going to do, I think we're nearly there now. So you can see we're getting a pretty nice even preparation on these two, on this card here. And I'm just going to continue to allow these two. Now I'm lifting this up in this case. I usually stick this on my lap, but just for the purposes of trying to help you be able to see it. Now when I'm at this point, I'm going to doff both carders onto one like you would wool. And now I've got this nice little sheet of fibre. Now what I'll do here is I take a dowel. Now this is like a this is just a, I think, 1/4 inch down. And what I do, let me just pick up my fibres. I'm going to put them onto the comb, onto the carder like this. I'm going to pop my dowel right tips of them at the tip end, and I'm going to just fold over that first layer. Make sure that goes over, and then I'm going to push against the teeth as I roll this down to help catch the fibres and roll them nice and tightly around the stick. So once you catch them, they're actually pretty easy to get round. You pull and you roll, pull forwards and roll, and you can see now my fibres are all caught around the carder, and I'm going to roll them up. Now a nice little trick is you put the whole punis underneath these bottom teeth here, and you give it a good, you push slightly against the bottom of the teeth as they are nicely curved, you see, in the same direction almost as the stick, and you roll it. You'll see they're now the fibres are now pretty tight on the dowel, and the fun bit is you take the dowel and you pop your punis off, and now that gives me a nice punis of cotton which should draft pretty nicely straight out of the end of the punis. There you go. And that's, cotton is funny when cotton takes a bit of a different approach towards spin, but it's actually very fun. It's got a bit of strength in it now, but yeah, you can see these punis made like this should, and have done for me, spin really nicely. Okay, so I think that probably, it's just a quick demonstration, not really intended as a massively instructional video, but hopefully that helps any of you who want to have a go at cotton carding see what I'm actually doing.